So the question is, how can an individual live with people in the world, family members and so many others, who are not at the same wavelength as you are? Your thinking and perspectives could be very different in many ways, could be more spiritual, more sadhana oriented, you're trying to evolve further. Others are not necessarily trying to do that. They're living their life in a very different manner. And how do you interact with them and deal with them and at the same time not find their faults, and at the same time keep your progression going? I think that's your question. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes.
So you will notice what we have examined, and you'll notice that freedom is your natural state. The Atma is always free, actually. Every great sage who has realized they became great, or they were considered great, because there's a realization that I am always free. See, in Maharashtra there was a Nisargadatta Maharaj. You may know, he's written a famous book called I Am That, or You Are That. He had a lot of Western disciples also. He's a Maharashtrian saint who actually lived in the Dharavi, inside that slum area. And the story is interesting. You may have heard the story. He was going to go to the Himalayas for tapasya. He was on the way. But then he said, wait a minute, if God is everywhere and the truth is everywhere, I should be able to realize it wherever I am, in whatever situation I'm in. Right? So that's what he did. He went back home, actually, and then where he was staying, and he had realized the Atma. So the freedom you're looking for is who you are. It's just a question of recognizing that I am free all the time. And then the interaction with others is done through that freedom. Does that make sense? Interaction with others who are going in different directions, you're interacting with them relatively as needed, but your freedom, or you are free, that state is never lost. But see, we don't feel that, right? I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's what it is. See, I'll tell you an example. When I visit my kids and everybody, so I'm not always thinking in the spiritual way of interacting with them.
Yes.
So it just goes, because the body has been conditioned so much from the past and from our childhood. So nothing changes. It's just that we just do whatever we've been doing all these years.
Sure. That's correct. You're going to do what you're going to do, I mean, just in terms of the interaction, but your vision changes. Isme drishti ka farak hai. The vision changes. So what is the vision change? How does it work? You go to see your family members, Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, how would Shankaracharya ji see his family members? Same, he has a family. He also had mother, father, so many things, right? Before he became sadhu or whatever it was. But the fact is that once you change your vision, everything is Brahman everywhere. There's no, but that you don't necessarily speak that truth to everybody, because they're not ready to. That's too far ahead. It's just your vision that you're remaining free. See, it's like this: if a great scientist in physics or chemistry goes to a birthday party, they're not going to start talking about physics and chemistry and all those high level ideas. But that's still going on. It's still there inside of them. So, but they can see the world through that lens. But they're interacting with people just in the usual way. That is what we were talking about yesterday, about the Leela versus the Karma idea. Leela is an interaction. It's the same interaction, but it is done without binding. It is done relatively. It is done as a play. It is done with the realization that everything is transitory. It is done with the realization that, yes, my family members are there, with love and affection it is done. But it's not done with any sense that anybody is mine. The fact is that nobody is ours. Body has relationship, not Atma. Atma doesn't have any relationship with anybody except Paramatma. Atma, the bodies come and go. This is Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is where bodies come and go. Relationships come and go. Yes, are we to maintain them? Sure, with love, affection, but not with that sense of getting trapped in other people's lives. The moment Sachin gets stuck in the brother of this body, if it were to be more accurate, if I say my brother, then we use that language, but in reality that is a false thing. That's not really true. It is the sibling of the body, not of me. Body is a cover only. For example, this little jacket I'm wearing, this blue colored jacket. This jacket is not me. It's mine, but it's not me. So the brother is a body to the I'm sorry, is connected with the physical body. This body came out of the connection with the sperm and the egg cell from the mother and the father. It's formed. It's a biological process. That's not who I am. So that realization that Vedanta is saying, who are you? And this is the whole science of Brahma Vidya, is the realization of who you really are. So the science of Brahma Vidya, which is a metaphysical science and it's mental science, it is a realization that there's nothing in this world that is ours. The world itself is just, from Advaita will say, it's just a dream of the Brahman. एक स्वप्न है, and then Vishishtadvaita will say वो स्वप्न तुल्य है, इतना ही फर्क है. It is like a dream. Ramanujacharya said it's real. Yes. Is it true that you have family and friends? But the Atma doesn't have any. The Atma is unborn. Atma is not even born actually. It's not even created by anybody. So I can say, yes, my mother is there. Sure. But if I see 1,000 ladies like her, I can say they're all the Divine Mother. End of story. Mahashakti. The whole Maya is gone. If I say this is my mother, but this is not, yeah, physically, interactionally in the relative world, yes, this is my mother. But the difference is what? Internally, there is what is called this deep-rooted, massive binding with that one person. Why? Why should Sachin be bound with anybody in this world that way? That is a massive energetic limitation, mental limitation. It's a clog actually. It's a clog inside the system. Isko granthi kehte hain. Isko mamatva granthi kehte hain. So, and that clog is so serious that it is deep in the recesses of the mind. Bahut deep hai wo. And to destroy that, to get out of that, the one direct way is to hold on to Brahma Vidya constantly. Brahma Vidya is the medicine. ये एक दवा है to this, for this रोग. ये जन्म मरण का रोग है. It is a disease of life and death. The attachment towards all the family members generates multiple lifetimes in the future. And again and again and again.
That's what has happened in life. That, we are so, something you hear, then you get so bogged up with all those things.
Yes.
So much in it.
Okay, let's look at that. That's a good example. We hear something, right? Okay, so for example, let's say my mother, I speak to her almost every day as my duty, and love and affection is there. Love, affection, duty, everything is there. But at the same time, if I hear something that may cause some disturbance, it's an opportunity for me to dive into the Atma. The disturbance itself is an opportunity to discover the Atma. That no, this is not the reality. Is that the reality? That then we go into the scriptures, do the dhyan, do inner reflection. Who am I really? And then, now there's ways of going about this. I can say this is my mother of the body, yes. You see? But then I can say that this is the Divine Mother. Matru Devo Bhava. ये हमारा वैदिक सूत्र है. I can just say that the great goddess Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, the great Mool Prakriti, that is manifesting as the mother of this body. Beautiful, of course. And then even a mother, mother who has children. Let's say you have children. Let's say Chaitanya has children. My mother has 2 kids, me and the brother. Naturally, every mother has this deep motherly instinct to take care of the children. All that beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fantastic. Now, all that is required is to put the rest of the world and all of the universes in that instinct. Ananta Koti Brahmand ki jo Shakti hai, all the jivas put inside there. I'm the mother of all the jivas. I'm the father of all the jivas. Bhagwan Shankar, he's the father of everybody. That's why anybody does tapasharya. Asuras, anybody, they get the fruit of that, because he's the progenitor of all. When we identify with Shiv or we identify with Shakti, then everything is ours. Everyone is ours. Even the Chamaka Stotra, the Rudram and Chamaka Stotra. The Chamak Stotra that's what it says. The mantras are that the trees are mine, the plants are mine, the animals are mine, all the wealth is mine. It's all about that everything in existence is mine. That is the Chamak Stotra. The Rudram is the Prarthana. Chamak is not really a Prarthana. It is a realized state. So that is the internal evolution. It's not something that you're going to go around saying to random people, oh, you're also my relatives and you're... No, in the relative world, we function in the relative world in the relative way without getting ensnared in the vortex of ignorance. That's the key. So let's use a academic example. If you have a top-notch mathematician, top-notch PhD level mathematician, and goes into the arithmetic class, the kindergarten and the first grade class, and as a guest lecturer, and says, here, you teach today's class, teach multiplication, division. So he's teaching it playfully. He has to play around with the little kids, and he cannot put a differential equation on there. You cannot put this Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi with the people of the world. They're not ready to hear that. That is only for those who are ready to even hear that Mahavakya. They might hear it, they'll spit it out. That's all. You cannot put that Mahavakya, it will not work for anybody like that also. You see, there is a preparation, that's why it's called a Mahavakya. This Vivek Chudamani we were studying, a बहुत advanced subject hai. It's a super advanced subject. But for those who have a spark of mumukshutva, who have a realization, I can break out of the whole process can begin. You don't have to spend years and years in that. But at the same time, when you know that there are people who are hurt and damaged and they're trapped inside the sansar, we can see with open eyes the massive bondages that are in the sansar. The sansar is a bondage. It's a jail. It's a durga, basically. So when we interact with the people in the world, there is an awareness that comes. Where are they in their awareness? Where are they in their development? And so the wisdom comes of what to say, how much to say, but to say it and to interact in a way that maintains your freedom. The physics professor or the mathematics professor going into the arithmetic class, can you imagine if that person forgot all of his education and only remembered mathematics up to algebra 1? How terrible that would be. If he was told you have to teach this class and you're going to forget everything, all the way up to, you're going to forget everything except geometry and algebra. He said, no, I don't want to go there. My God. I spent 25 years studying mathematics. This is what happens. We study Brahma Vidya. We speak to one person in this world. All that Brahma Vidya gets blown out of the mind. Because it's not solidified inside. That's what this verse we're looking at, Manan Chintan Nididhyasan, it's the solidification of Gnan, of this wisdom. ये बहुत बड़ी बात है. Once that solidifies, then there is steadiness. बहुत स्थिर होता है मन. And then one can see the nature of attachment. My God, आसक्ति का क्या स्वरूप है? People have killed each other over it. People are dying each other over that. People, the internal desires are unending. You can see all of this thing. So that is a transition from a mumukshu to a mukta. आप मुक्त बन सकते हैं, definitely. But that doesn't mean you don't love your family. In fact, you're just putting all jivatma inside that family. So when we are doing puja of Bhagwan Krishna, Bhagwan Shankar, of the goddess or Hanumanji or Christ or whoever we're doing puja of, in actuality that puja is done with the feeling, with that wisdom that all of existence is in the Murti, is in the Lord. That's what Sri Krishna is saying. Yomam paschayati sarvatra. See me in all. Sarvam cha mahi pashyati. See all in me. The Gita doesn't say, see people in India only in me, or people in Canada only in me. The Gita doesn't say, see only human beings in me. The Gita doesn't say, see only plants in me, or see only brown colored people, or white colored people, or green colored people, or no. Or old people, or young people, or sick people. No. See, the Sanskrit language is very important. Yo mam pashyati. Now see the word pashyati. Pashyati means it's a divine vision, clear vision. It's just a vision, that's all. The interaction in the sansar has to be in that way. You have to interact in the relative world in the relative way, non-bindingly. That is lila. That is play. And of course, with sensitivity. Not, this Brahma Vidya is not to be thrashed on other people's head. For example, we're upset with somebody and say, you know what? Nobody belongs to anybody. Just get out of my house. ये कहीं ब्रह्म विद्या नहीं है. Brahma Vidya doesn't. You cannot use those ideas in through Maya. Those ideas are there to liberate us and to interact with tremendous sensitivity. One of the biggest points of J. Krishnamurti, which has always stayed with me, is the level of sensitivity that comes when we are evolved into the truth. We are very sensitive, we are very aware, but we are not entrapped because there is no fragmentation of thought. The language is a little bit different, that's all. But there is love. Now, we can use another word for that, and that is karuna. That is daya. That is karuna, prem. But prem and love is not entangled attachment. Not at all. If Sachin says, I love my mother, I use the word love in the usual sense because, this is my mother, all the different memories, and it's so deep because we have come out of the mother's womb, we have come out of the family. Our whole brain and everything is formed in attachment. So that attachment is necessary to go beyond attachment. If somebody says, well, why is this attachment there? It's there so you can go beyond it. That's why it's there. It needs to be there. But most people are just stuck in it. That's all. But that's also Krupa of Bhagwan, that at least you have a chance to realize at some point that you can go beyond it. Otherwise, the Jivatma remains dormant in Mool Prakriti without any experience. And that doesn't work either. From a Tattvagnan point of view, why even existence is there is so the Jivatma can experience Prakriti and evolve out of it. ये सब अद्भुत ज्ञान है, अलौकिक ज्ञान है.
Yeah. When you listen all these things, Sachin, then you are very clear. Just I said yesterday, like a sine wave. It goes up and it comes down like that.
So right there, that means just what you just said right now. When you listen all this, you're very clear. You are clear because these ideas. This is called Brahma Vidya, but it's also called Paravani. Paravani means Sachin is just putting together things that are, that we have done through satsang. It's nothing original that I'm trying to give you in that sense. It's just a synthesis, right? So it's called Paravani kehte hain. When we listen to Paravani, there is clarity. The clarity is there. Recognize the clarity, and then consciously identify with it. This is the thing. Can Sachin identify with Vasudeva Kutumbakam? Can Sachin identify? See, the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan kya kehte Krishna? Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam chamai pashyati, tasyaham na pranashyami, sachame na pranashyati. Okay, I can say the verse. I can learn the verse. I can even give an exposition on it. I talk for many hours on this beautifully. I enjoy that. It's good. Nothing wrong. But, hold on. Is that shlok of the Gita, is it living inside my mind? Bring the Gita inside. Don't keep it outside. Bring it inside. And that's what Shankaracharya is saying. Shravan dhyanadhibihi. Shravan manan dhyanadhibihi. Shravan manan chintan. And so we are then really churning it inside. Alurde sarva shastrani. It's not the quantity. Even one verse of the Gita, one word of the Gita is enough for liberation. If it is digested, it has to be churned and then digested.
Gita gives us the tools, basically, all the
Gita kya hai? Gita is spoken by Bhagwan, Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, through Ved Vyasji. Ved Vyasji is the one who wrote the Gita. Bhagwan Krishna didn't actually sit down and write the Gita or anything like that. It's Ved Vyasji who is the writer of the Gita, of the whole Mahabharata itself. And the Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses, are in the middle, right in the middle of the Mahabharata. So it's a tremendous intelligence that is operating behind that. So when we start to meditate on the idea, wait, what does it even mean to see God everywhere? Yo mam, and who is he talking? When Shri Bhagwan bolte, see me everywhere. What do we see? We see people that are ours, people that are not ours, people that are different from us. We see diversity, okay. But we also are in the divisive wake, the wake of divisiveness, the wave of division. The whole Upanishadic teaching is that there is the real truth is non-division.
I'll tell you something, Sachin. For in between in my life, initially what we do about puja, everything when you're growing up with your family, it is we do all those things what our parents tell us, and then basically it is we try to please them. Okay?
Sure.
And when afterwards, when you are independent and then you think about all these things and then you become quite rebellious in the sense that for many years I thought all this Satnarayan Katha I used to do every year, all those things. And then afterwards, and then I started thinking about it, that in each chapter there is a situation saying that God was angry and punished something and all those things.
Yes.
That put me off, and I have not done after that.
Of course. Because those are child stories. That's right. What. See, the scriptures are written at different levels for different people. So now, go ahead.
Right. Now, after listening to 2 years of spirituality and God and all, so I'm actually going back to thinking that I should do that, but look at it with a different angle and different lens, so that there is a reason for all those scriptures written like that.
Yes, there is. Definitely there is. There is a psychological and a spiritual reason. See, remember one thing, that the Pauranic literature, 18 Puranas, the Satyanarayan Katha is from the Reva Khanda of the Skanda Purana. Okay, so the Puranas have 3 dimensions. The 18 Puranas have 3 dimensions. They have a historical dimension, they have a didactic dimension, meaning they teach a lesson, and then they have a metaphysical dimension, they have a psychological dimension. You see, and they also are a bridge into Vedanta. They have these 5 aspects in the Puranas. That's why Vedvyasji wrote the Puranas, because for the masses, the general public is not going to understand directly the Upanishadic teachings. That Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. This is the Vedantic ultimate truth. The common public is not going to get that. That's why Vedvyasji wrote the Puranas. There's Shiva, there is Vishnuji, there's the Devi Mahatma, and there is the metaphysics of that also, that the Ishwaras are there. So isme bahut kuch likha hai in that way, and it is written from a metaphysical point of view, historical point of view, didactic point of view, spiritual point of view. So many aspects are inside there.
In fact, to tell you the truth, even Bhagavad Gita, I used to wonder why Krishna is asking Arjun to kill.
Okay.
So all that used to be bothering me, and then he would, to tell you the truth, for a long time I said, why Krishna is asking me to believe in me? Like I said, why this ego type? All those things.
Right.
The ignorance and all those things. Now only I'm understanding what all that was about.
Exactly. Yes, because when he's using the word me, now you can, what is that? That is referring to the tattva that is Krishna. Yomam vetti tattvataha. Not the physical body that is Krishna. See, when Arjuna is talking in the Gita in the beginning, he's seeing him as a friend and all that. It's a cousin and all that, or if some family, like that. But then he realizes who he is actually. इसको क्या कहते हैं? इसे तात्विक ज्ञान. That's what Sri Krishna is saying. Yo mam veti tattvataha. As you see me, that's the me. It's not the ego or anything like that. It's the same tattva that Shankaracharya ji is talking about, Atma Tattvam. And if you look at Shankaracharya ji's commentary, he's made that very clear on the Bhagavad Gita.
So this is actually, it has made me clarify so many doubts that I had in between my life.
And that's natural to have them, because anybody brought up in Hindu tradition is going to have thousands of these questions. It's a very confusing tradition. It's a hodgepodge of so many different ideas. And with children brought up in that, unless they are part of a particular organization and Guru Parampara that is teaching, it's good to be part of that up to some level. So you get some footing, right, whether it's Chinmay Mission or
absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah, mm-hmm. or this Ramakrishna Mission or Chinmay Mission, or in Swaminarayan, there's a lot of different organizations. There are lots of organizations in South India also. There's organizations in Maharashtra also, quite a few. There's the whole Varkari Sampradaya, what the Sampradayas are. This is very advanced. Sanatana Dharma बहुत advanced बात है. Super advanced baat hai. But the general public doesn't know that. They have their beliefs and rituals, and they have their superstitions and whatever they're doing. That's all they know. They're more interested in Bollywood films and all the casteism and all the nonsense that's going on. They have not taken the time to study the actual scriptures. How many Hindus we know that has actually taken the time to study the scriptures? Hindu community is interested in doing everything other than that. Actually, so we don't even know what we have. That's the only, I would say, tiny percentage, 5% of the Hindu community has real understanding of what is Hindu tradition, and those 5% people have thousands of divisions. There are 30,000 sampradayas in India today. Think about that. That's natural. But that's the beauty also. Yeah, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. And there is a kathakar of Ramayana called Murari Bapu in Gujarat. He speaks in Gujarati and in Hindi. I have listened to at least 3,000 hours worth of his talks over the years. I have most of them, and CDs and whatnot. And what he has done, he's tried to pull all this together. But you can see his perspective. You can see what he's trying to do, right? He's trying to pull the masses and awaken them in through the Tulsi Ramayana. So ये सब बड़ी बात है. You can spend a whole lifetime studying one shastra only. Anyway, other comments? Anything else anybody wants to say?
Sachin, thank you for explaining David's question, and I have the similar question, but you already said it. What I got it through listening to you all this time, it's just our mind, like your mind wobbles so much. I'm focused right now, that's why it all looks good to me.
Yes.
But then the minute we finish this satsang, and then day-to-day routine, problems, all that is going to come to our mind. And so many times I think like, okay, I want to shut down my mind. I just want to stop thinking. Like sometimes I do this, like I said, like stop thinking. Just don't think anything.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. So I agree. And what I learned from listening to you is the khananam. We need to do more khananam, like know ourselves. And that's what we're learning through this satsang. And I think the more we do that, more we listen to ourselves. What do we want? Sometimes I ask, like, okay, you don't want to wake up in the morning, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do this. What do you want to do? Ask ourselves that question and then come up. So since I retired, it was very, very difficult because I was working all this time. And now all of a sudden I have nothing to do, which is, so every day waking up, I'm, okay, you don't want to wake up. Then what do you want to do? You want to stay in the bed? So I'm like talking to myself and trying to get this. This satsang helped me at least some kind of motivation, listening to be with the people, and and adapt something from this and move on. Because you have to move on. You have to live the life, and and yeah, you see all kind of challenges. So thank you for explaining.
No, absolutely. That, and thank you for sharing that. That is very true. You know, when we are faced with day-to-day challenges, we are faced with them. There's no question about that. There are challenges, there are tasks to perform, there are activities to perform, there are family members to take care of. But all of that can be done without resistance. Eventually, as the Gnan, Bhakti, everything develops, we have to perform the same action, but to perform it with a great steadiness. You know, and that steadiness it's not a one-day thing. It doesn't happen like with the flick of a switch, you know. But the meditations that are done, the sadhana that is done of different kinds, the 9 forms of devotion, the bhajan bhakti that is done, the prarthanas that are done, so many sadhanas are there, different breathing techniques are there, yogic techniques are there. But you know what it is? Because all of you are hanging in there with this, you will see, as time goes on, that whole Brahma Vidya will come inside your mind within about 2 years. It will just sink inside there. Definitely. You know, but
You know, Sachin, the problem is all about attachment in life. The basic thing is insecurity and attachment.
right, insecurity and attachment, right? So rather than calling it as a problem, call it as an opportunity.
Wish we can do that. We are trying our best.
So for example, if you say there's insecurity, wait a minute. And you know, everybody has their own journey, right? I went through that myself, actually. There was a time in my life where I didn't know I had no idea what was good. Everything has kind of blown away, right? You're familiar with some of the stuff that happened. So I remember very clearly. I had my jap mala, you know, and I was sitting in my temple in my home, and I was doing whatever was possible to be done. But I had no idea what was going to happen. I said, let it happen. What's going to happen? What's the worst that can happen? This body will go away one day. But that's not a worst thing that's going to happen anyway. The body is going to turn to ashes one day. So why worry about anything? There's no need to worry about anything at all. So in that, the insecurity goes away. You begin to rely on God because there's a realization that the body will turn to dust. You know, the Srimad Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses where Parikshit Raja, Parikshit is the son of the Pandavas, you know, and he was the only one that survived actually. Everybody else was killed. And Parikshit was given a shrap by a rishi that you're only going to live 7 days. And he's a Chakravarti Raja. And so then by God, I'm only going to live 7 days. He said, at the end of 7 days, you're going to go. You're going to go. There, definitely. And that was infallible. So he went out to see the great rishi, Shukdev Goswami. And then that's where the Srimad Bhagavatam came. So at least he knew he was going to live 7 days. We don't even know that. Nobody knows that. So when we recognize that this body is just a bubble, look at the implications of that. Purna Vairagya is there. Purna Vairagya. Vairagya comes, and from that Vairagya, there is tremendous strength to live in the world and face anything that comes without any disturbance. Just from this one dhyan only.
See, what I have learned all these years listening to you is to find one Ishta Devta, Ishta Devi.
Yes.
And then I do that, and then rest of the Devi Devtas are my gurus and all.
Yes.
Exactly what you said, I'm trying to follow.
Yes.
And then every day in the morning I tell God that I don't know anything, I'm at your feet, please guide me. But something happens, suddenly the doubt comes.
Suddenly what comes? The doubt comes? Doubt?
The doubts. Then मैंने जब अपने आप को भगवान के चरणों में कर दिया, all these things, so why should I try to solve a problem?
That's the whole point. It's not about solving a problem. It is about...
It is not solving a problem. I don't call it as solving a problem, but I'll say, oh, why it has happened? What can I do? That comes to your mind.
Yes.
But when you're already saying that, God, you guide me
Yes.
with all these things. So, वो मुक्ति कहाँ से मिलेगा? There is a doubt already.
Yes. So that is the point. That is exactly the point where with courage, sit for dhyan. And the mental process that is going on, that process, we are so lost in that. You know, it's so powerful actually. So because of that, we come back. And steady breaths, do the mantra, you know, the Namah Shivaya mantra, Ram mantra, whichever mantra you do, and say, okay, this is going on right now. Oh Lord, give me the wisdom to handle this thing. And see, we are overrun by the mind. So what you're talking about, this is a battle that is going on inside. You see, we don't want that battle, because that battle is a serious problem. We don't want that battle. You are leaving everything at the feet of God, but then when that disturbance comes, doubt comes, analysis, he said, ask yourself, what is my duty? What is my duty today? What is my duty now? Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. The Gita ki jo siddhant and the things that we're talking about every day, you know, this is to be, we're listening. Sachin is also listening. Sachin is talking and I'm just, expounding upon it. But there's listening and there's talking and listening, but then digest it. Bring it inside, actually. Then you'll come face to face with the ego. You come face to face with the ego. The ego says, I want to do these 100 other things that are completely going to, because I want that experience, even though it's binding, it's problematic, whatever it is, but I want to keep chewing that up. Then keep chewing it up, no problem, and keep getting bound. Man eva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho amrut bindu Upanishad. These ideas, hold them inside. In Vachanamrut, Maharaj said, સત્સંગમાં જે વાર્તા થાય છે એ ધારવી અને વિચારવી in Gujarati. Dharvi means hold. Hold, and it's the quality. That's the real power. It's not the quantity. So hold it inside. Deliberately hold it inside. The wisdom that is, the flashes of wisdom, hold them inside. Let it hold you. And then as the evolution happens, Ananda is going to open beautifully. Ananda is going to be there. It is who you are.
See, this Hindu philosophy, we have Sachin saying that this is what meant to happen. We always say that.
That is the... Okay, now I'll tell you what that is. Wo kya hai? This thing about what is meant to happen, what is going to happen, that has to do with the doctrine of predestination, which means that you don't have any free will. No, it's not so. We have free will. The only difference is God knows what you're going to do. He doesn't make you do anything, but He already knows because He's omniscient. Bhagwan sarvagna hai. वो परमात्मा का जो स्वरूप है वो सर्वज्ञ है. But that doesn't take away our free will. Free will is there. We can go in any direction.
No, thank you so much for clarifying so many things. Keep on the mind,
And
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Please. Chetna, also go ahead, please.
No,
hi, Chetna.
yeah,
You're there. Okay.
Hi, Didi. I just thought I'll tune in for a bit.
So nice, so nice.
No, I was... so I just thought, let me... you were talking about how doubt comes, when you talk about surrender and, all that, right? So I think the main